the minutes. If we get a quorum a little later in the call, we'll circle back and we'll approve the minutes from April 25th. In the meantime, let's move on to the third agenda item, which is the Solarize program report. And David, I'm turning it over to you.
Okay, thank you. We have over 100 subscribers in the county. I don't have a breakdown by town, and it seems to be going well. We may have some issues with NICEAG capacity that's coming up right now, but that's just partly a sign of a lot of subscriptions and a lot of interest. And Kara can probably give us more details from the Neighborhood Fund perspective on what's happening there. But seems like we've had a lot of early success, and we expect to do more promotion as we get into the warmer months and we have more events as we move forward. So Kara, I don't know if you want to add anything there.
Yeah, sorry I was late, so I came in the tail end of what you said, David. But yes, we've helped 4 towns reach their goal and beyond their goal. So they're getting the incentives. So that's Claverack, Germantown, Kinderhook, and Ghent. And then we've also signed up 3 towns as of today for town building. So the town of Germantown, Claverack, and today the town of Chatham, which has been a long time coming, something like a year and a half, maybe 2 years. I lost track, but yay. And then, there was an email blast that went out to Ghent Democrats. I think it went through Facebook. And we were inundated with a bunch of Ghent enrollments that were all NICEAG. We also had some NICEAG come from Philmont and under the town of Claverack, quite a few, in fact. So a lot of rallying going on there. And so all great success, attributed to the folks in Kinderhook and Germantown and Claverack and Ghent, and all their enthusiasm. NICEAG is in very short supply. There's been a lot of, I've sent some emails. I might have missed some of the folks on this. I might not have sent it to everybody here at EMC. I think I sent it to the Climate Smart Task Force. But there's been quite a few disruptions in the solar industry with looming tariffs and supply chain issues, and waiting for NYSERDA's next round of incentives to be approved by the Public Service Commission. So long story short, a lot of projects, excuse my cat, have been over the course of the past year, and prior to, these little disruptions, there was COVID. So a lot of disruptions over the past few years. And what we're seeing is a shortage of NICEAG capacity overall across the state. So starting sometime this week, probably by the end of this week, instead of having folks go through the whole enrollment process, if they are NICEAG customers, we'll have a we haven't completely, it's not gone through development yet, but a way for them to enter their contact information so we can put them on a wait list for NICEAG. But otherwise, we have plenty of capacity in Central Hudson, and for Ankrum and Gallatin folks, and also National Grid is relatively abundant. So, and I think we're up to like 125 enrollments so far, if not more. I haven't done a final check as of today.
Perfect. David, do you have more for us?
I have more for you, but not on the solar campaign.
Okay.
On the Climate Smart front, but I don't want to jump ahead unless we're ready.
Well, if that's the Solarize program report, then we can move into the communities. So
Great.
go right ahead.
Okay. Just a quick update. We in addition to the solar campaign, we've been counting up our points at the county level. It looks like we have enough to submit for bronze at this point, which is great news. We'll probably submit in July. And we also have the Climate Carnival coming up, which I'll get to in a minute. So we have this ongoing solar campaign. We're starting to look at what comes next, in addition to the Climate Carnival, which is in a moment. The two areas where I think there's possibilities for us and a lot of opportunity are fleet EVs for the county and also fast charging stations for the county. So we'd like to build out the infrastructure. This will take a while perhaps, but there are a lot of incentives right now. There's New York State money that's about to come online, and there's utility money. And combined, they can help pay for the entire investment in these fast charging stations. We don't have any fast charging stations. I don't think we have any in the county. Correct me if I'm wrong. Do we have Greenport now? Is there one in Greenport?
Is Skodak considered Columbia County?
No.
Right
No.
there. It's the closest fast chargers, Skodak.
So we don't have any fast charging infrastructure, and it makes sense to have it on some of our in some areas. So we're starting to collect more information so we can have a more informed discussion as a task force, and then bring our recommendations with that information to the Board of Supervisors to help move forward. Michael, you have a question? You're still muted. Yeah, there you go. Nope. The red button at the bottom with the microphone.
Got it. Thought the icon on the screen worked, but no. I think that Tesla's online in Greenport, just this side of the bridge.
Okay, that's what I was
But
thinking.
that's only Tesla. Yeah.
Right. Well, that's good. Thank you. So that's an opportunity. I mean, there's nothing I can't say. I wouldn't go to the bank and I wouldn't, start saying we're going to have a fast charging infrastructure coming online in the next year or two. But it's certainly the next one of the next things that we need to be focused on. The Climate Carnival is July 16th at the fairgrounds. Get the word out. Tell people. We've got a lot of cool stuff happening there. There are about 30 vendors, 2 or 3 food trucks. There's music. It's from 10 to 4 p.m. The Northeast Kingdom of New Lebanon, I like to call them that. They are a kingdom of sorts. They are leading the charge on a lot of the really innovative work going on in this area. And Bruce can give us an update on the Repair Cafe. There's a bicycle swap and repair. There's a free store, and there will be EVs there. There will be other tech companies with heat pumps. There will be climate-friendly farms. Kara will be there. Her hand went right up. Neighborhood Sun will be there. There'll be a birds of prey exhibit for the kids, if anyone, and for the adults. If anyone hasn't seen that raptor exhibit, it's pretty cool. Getting close to these amazing birds. So it's shaping up. We have some sponsorship now. So we've got some funding, not a whole lot, but some funding. If anyone wants to make a donation or knows anyone, CLC is serving as a fiscal sponsor. We're using that money for advertising to get the word out. And it's a free event. It's free for everyone. It's free for the vendors, and it's county sponsored. So we would like to get a lot of people there and make this, the first of many to come. So we will be doing some online advertising and some yard signs, that type of thing. Bruce, I don't know if you want to add anything. Kara had her hand up too.
Well, Kara should go first. She had her hand up.
Oh, I kind of reconsidered, but I just would, I guess, I have to have a side conversation with David and the Climate Smart Task Force, but I would say this has come up in a couple conversations with people I've talked to from towns. And for instance, if there's 4 towns there, or whoever that might be wanting to table, think about what you can do at your table or your booth that's different from everybody else. So maybe the towns that are showing up to table. Maybe they get together to talk about what they're going to highlight. So we're not all just pounding everybody with, hey, we did solar panels. Hey, we did a charging station. Something maybe hands-on. Think about, maybe a hands-on activity for kids or for people, or just wanted to throw that out there.
Yeah, it's a really good point, because there are, I think, 4 or 5 climate smart communities from the towns that have tables, which is great. And we should have everyone there. Every town should be there, but it would be helpful to perhaps highlight, your best successes, or come with some information, make a poster so that it's distinct and not you can coordinate with some of the other towns as well. And we can help to. It's a great idea, Kara. We should talk about that at our next carnival planning meeting, and reach out to folks that have signed up to help facilitate that.
Like Austerlitz is planning to do like this is, hopefully nobody poses this, but the idea is to have a tree trunk with branches and then little leaves cut out, green leaves, that kids can write down how they feel about climate change and pin it on the tree, or something where you're there for a minute. Now you can engage the parents, kind of talk about, we'll figure out one thing that we want to talk about, yeah.
That's great. That's great. It's not an advocacy event. It's just make that point. It's not an event to come and talk about the legislation or a particular policy that you want implemented. It's really more informative to show people and tell people what they can do and how they can participate across a whole range of actions, personal and community. Composting to working on helping to recycle bicycles in your community. And we've got a great program, thanks to our friends in New Lebanon, that we'd like to expand throughout the county. But Bruce can tell us more about that.
Well, I don't really have much to add. You've pretty much covered everything. I'll just sound like a broken record and keep asking for fixers. Most of the emphasis seems to be coming from the north part of the county. So what I was reaching out to the south part of the county and the west part of the county, if there are any fixers, and also to emphasize it, to make publicity. I mean, talk to your town boards and things like that, because so many people don't even know about this yet. The publicity is just kicking off, but I think at the town level, if we report to our town boards, we should say it over and over till people hear it enough. So that's.
Yeah. So that's the Climate Carnival. And one last thing, which I wanted to mention, is some movement on the Harlem Valley Rail Trail very early. But Kelsey, do you have a question or a comment?
Yeah, sure. I was just curious, as promotional materials are being developed, will they be shared out with us? It's certainly something that could be shared through our social media.
Yeah, we have Don Meltz in the planning department has been working with an outside volunteer consultant, and they've been working on improving the website. climatecarnival.org, I believe, is the site now. It directs you to the county page. And I believe there's a fact sheet or like a one pager, which I'll make sure gets emailed out to the EMC so that we can all get it out there in our respective areas.
I can put it in the chat if you want.
Oh, that'd be great. Thanks, Kara.
Thank you.
And
Hey,
if
David,
anyone
did
is,
you just
It's
give
just
us
a first edition, so there's going to be much more.
Yeah.
all right. So would you give us the particulars again? The date is what again?
July 16th from 10 to 4 at the the county fairgrounds. I don't know if there are no other fairgrounds as far as I know, but in Chatham,
Yep.
near the Price Chopper, near the mall there on the way in. And it's 10 to 4.
Great. And if towns are interested, if anybody goes back to their towns and they come back and they say they'd like to table too, who should they reach out to?
You would go to the climatecarnival.org website and you would sign up. And there's an online form, and you need to submit that information. And then there's there's proof of insurance, which is the county is requiring for a town that's not a problem to add the county as an additional insured. For most organizations or businesses, it's not a problem. If you have a small nonprofit that's not an actual 501c3 or doesn't have proper fiscal sponsorship and doesn't have an insurance policy that you can call up and say, can you add this for the one-day event to my insurance as an additional insured? It doesn't cost anything to do that, but you need to have insurance to do that. If you run into those issues because you want a table, we're going to help you figure out a way to get there. We've been doing that through the towns often. So if an organization is in a town, we're asking the town to help that organization. But if that is an issue for you, sign up and we'll work with you to figure it out.
Terrific. The next agenda item. So is that a wrap? Is that a wrap on climate smart stuff? Or
Well, there's
there
one
more
more
to that?
thing, but there's always one more thing.
All right, I've got some
Sorry to
things too,
interrupt,
so.
Rick. I don't know how to put a PDF in the chat, so I'll just mail it out to the group.
Thank you.
Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
sorry to interrupt.
Just quickly, I just wanted to mention the Northwest 11 is the furthest north part of the Harlem Valley Rail Trail. For folks that haven't heard about it, that referred to that way, from Philmont to Chatham. It's probably further. It's actually a little further south. It's probably from up Route 11 from 23, heading down towards Hillsdale, up toward Chatham. That section, as everyone knows, is not completed, and parts of it that I've been on are incredibly beautiful, as they are in the parts of the trail that are opened up further south. And so the Rail Trail Association convened a meeting recently with our town supervisor, Simmons, and a few other people in our town in Ghent, and have been in touch now with Chatham and Philmont. And we've decided to submit a grant application to a state grant, which is 50% match. It's for planning, and so it's for a shovel-ready plan that would have engineering of bridge overpasses. It would have permitting all worked out. It would have kind of some of the sticky issues around easements over private property figured out, to basically have a shovel-ready plan that we could raise money toward building out. And so you'll be hopefully, if we're successful in the grant application, which is due mid-June, we'll be raising money to match that. So we can get that done in the next year or two, couple years, and then start raising money to build out the section. We're talking about two different sections that we would tackle probably separately. One is Bartlett House north into Chatham, and the other is from Philmont up to Bartlett House. And they both present opportunities and obstacles. But that's kind of where that's at. Again, it's not something that is going to happen like that, but this is a logical strategy toward making progress.
What's your budget for the study?
It's a $600,000 budget. It's $300,000 for the actual grant, and we'll have to raise $300,000 privately. So no guarantees. We are gathering letters of support from businesses and municipalities. So I might be in touch. Or if you know of any business or any entity, any nonprofit that you think would be helpful to have a letter of support for something like this for a state grant, then please feel free to reach out to me.
Which agency administers the
I
grant?
think it's a DEC grant. I'm like 90% sure it's DEC,
Okay.
but not 100%.
Okay. Are there's one more things, David, or?
That's all I've got.
Okay, great. Thank you. Are there any other towns that want to report in on some of the activities of their climate smart committees? No? All right. I'll just briefly tell you that Chatham had a very successful repair cafe last weekend. I went down. There were probably 12 repair people, maybe more like 14 or 15. I don't have the numbers yet on attendance, but they were trying to track that, and it looked fairly well attended.
Yep.
So,
Yeah, I should have the numbers soon. Carla didn't have them right away, but we should have them next week.
terrific. I think it was a very well received event.
Yeah, it was. I mean, Carla and everybody that had anything to do with it said it went wonderfully well. It was kind of
Yeah.
crowded in the beginning, but then it was really even, and people were very happy. It was a very big success.
Yeah. Yep. And then the other thing is that the town of Chatham, just as part of its comprehensive planning process, just held a focus group on solar power. And that was very interesting, and it's all anecdotal, but there was a good amount of support for all sorts of solar arrays in the town of Chatham, right up to the Quarryville size thing, at which point all the support went away, which is not, which is to be expected. So, and there was a third thing that I'm not remembering, and I think that's okay. So, anything else from climate smart communities across the county? All right. Unfortunately, we don't have anybody here who's active with Columbia County Zero Waste to give us any sort of update of what they're up to. So I'm going to move on to the next agenda item.
I think we have 11 people now. Since Christian came on, I think we have 11.
Oh,
They
Christian
have to
came
be
on?
voting members, so
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I think there's 11 voting members.
I've got one.
Christian's here? I don't see him.
He's on
I
the
have
lower.
10,
You have 10?
voting members.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I count 11, but I don't know who's not a member.
Well, I can read them off. I've got Colleen, Cara, Rick, Barbara, David, Michael, Bill Mancini, Bruce, Christian, and Paul Green.
Oh, and Carol.
Tara's
Carol.
not a voting member. She's Vicio.
Oh, Carol?
Carol's
Cara,
not-
you mean?
No,
Yeah, I
Cara
did
and
read
Carol.
Cara. I read Cara. I'm sorry, I didn't hear
You
you.
did. Okay.
But Carol is on.
Carol?
Carol Smith.
Carol Smiley? Okay. Is she's here?
Yeah.
All right, good.
All right.
That makes 11.
So I moved that we approve the minutes. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Terrific. Thank you.
Thank you.
Are there any corrections, concerns, any discussion about the minutes? All right, hearing none. All those in favor of adopting the minutes, say aye and raise your right hand.
Aye.
All those opposed? Any abstentions? And Maureen, we have minutes.
Great. And who was the first to approve?
Who is what?
Who was the first and the second to approve the minutes?
I moved it,
Okay.
and who seconded it?
It was Bruce, I think.
I think it was Bruce too.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Christian, I don't know if we don't have Michael Bradley with us tonight, and I don't know if Zero Waste Columbia has met since our last meeting.
We haven't had an official meeting. We've had online correspondence having to do with the coming festival, but nothing else than that to report.
Okay. All right. Terrific. Oh, I know that zero waste brought me back. I remember the other thing that Chatham has done. Chatham has put in a battery recycling box at Town Hall. And we wanted to put it at the transfer station, but we were told that they would fill that box up within a week and that it was too expensive to do. So at some point, I think EMC should advocate that the county budget enough money to put battery recycling boxes at all the transfer stations.
Can you say something about what's involved in doing that?
I'm not involved in the project, so I can't speak to it, but I do know that the Climate Smart Committee has made arrangements. I think they're using some of the $5,000 that we received for the Solarize project to pay for putting this box out and then for the cost of recycling the batteries. So, but I think that would be a service that we would want the county to take up at transfer stations, given how important the issue is. So maybe we can address that when Michael comes back. I'll bring it up with him as well. But maybe we can put that on our agenda. Tara, County Health Report.
You're on mute, Tara.
You're muted, Tara. Yep.
Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Okay. I just wanted to put some food for thought out there for the Zero Waste Committee. I know there's not everybody there tonight, and I can speak more to this as we move along in a next meeting maybe. But I received an email this past week from Karen Roberts-Mort. She was an EMC council member that represented Ghent previously, affiliated with Cornell Cooperative Extension. And she was looking to find out how I could either give some sort of approval or assist in trying to start a campaign for the use of reusable takeout and leftover food containers in food service establishments that we regulate in the county. So I reached out to the state health department because I thought, wow, that'd be a great idea. There's, some things that have to be controlled, and of course doing that. But she provided some examples of programs where they're doing this. One in particular, I liked the idea. There was a pilot program on Martha's Vineyard, and it's called Island Eats. And of course, waste disposal is huge there because everything they bring on that island has to find its way back off. So they're doing this program where the food restaurants have a designated takeout containers, and they provide a token to the customer. And when the customer brings back the container, they get the token for the next time they want to use it. The food service establishment takes back the used containers in a collection area, and then they properly wash and sanitize them according to, the food code. And then they can refill and reuse that container again for either that customer or someone else. So it reduces the overall volume of all these takeout. They're not supposed to be using styrofoam at this point, but everything else is providing the bulk that's going into the landfills. So I've kind of floated the idea around to a few restaurant operators that I've met with in the past week or so, and they jumped at it like, wow, that would be amazing to not pay so much for the containers we're having to buy, and then to also be helping and reducing the waste. So the state health department, when I reached out to my counterpart up at the Bureau of Food Protection, he also said that the current state sanitary code doesn't outright preclude people from bringing containers for reuse, but the state is also preparing at some point to move toward the FDA model food code, which doesn't prohibit it, but it does specify that the containers would have to be brought back and cleaned properly by the facility before they're reused. So there's still some working out the regulations behind it, but I just wanted to put it out there as an idea that maybe there can be some kind of a campaign or a pilot program where restaurants that are interested, and I'm sure there would be quite a few that would want to do this to try to reduce the overall volume of all these takeout containers. So I'm just putting it out there tonight for now, food for thought, and then we can talk about it more as, more information comes along. So that
Alright.
was on the zero waste.
Sounds
Yeah, I know.
I think-
I thought Christian,
great.
when she sent me the email, I'm like, hey, what didn't I think of that? But yeah, so I'm
Well,
glad somebody's thinking of it.
It's like the
Um,
milk jugs that you get at
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
and they come with a $2, return fee to return the glass bottle.
So I have, Karen had sent me a link to, the Martha's Vineyard program, the Island Eats, and also the state of Maine has come out with a policy on refilling returnables. So I'll send those links to Maureen, and maybe Maureen can send them out to everybody so you can kind of take a look at what's happening out there. I'm not aware of anything else in New York State. So Karen said that Tompkins County has kind of given a blessing by a memo to the food service operators that says it's okay with us if you do this. But I feel more comfortable with the state health department, giving the guidance on how to do it properly. Because, what they were saying in that county was as long as the container isn't visibly soiled or chipped. And I'm thinking to myself, well, visibly soiled and properly sanitized are two different things when you're talking about food service regulations. So I wouldn't want somebody to bring a container back into the kitchen to fill it and possibly contaminate the filling utensil with an improperly sanitized container that came from someone's home. So as long as we can work that out and make it be done safely, I think it's a wonderful idea. So we'll keep talking about it. Do you want me to continue on with the rest of the health department report, or anybody?
Yeah. Yes, please,
Okay.
Tara.
Okay. So of course, COVID numbers are increasing a little bit. We had 65 new cases in the county since last Friday. And we've had three more residents pass from COVID since we last met. So we're at 144 deaths now. They're trying to tell people that if you're 50 and over, get the booster if you haven't done so. Trying to think what else. Oh, we've been fielding quite a few septic system complaints this spring. It seems like more than the usual number, whether that's people just kind of let it go during COVID or what, but just kind of a reminder for people to spread the word to have your tank pumped. It's a good idea to have it checked at least 3 years. So it might be that people just kind of let it slide, and now they're having trouble with their system. So try to think if there was anything else. Oh, there's been 2 outbreaks of note you may have heard on the news. The local one was they've pulled the raw milk that they sell at the Hawthorne Valley store due to the detection of listeria in a sample that was pulled by the state health department. So we have gotten one call of a resident who does regularly purchase and drink that milk, who has become ill with symptoms, fever, diarrhea. So they were going to be going and be tested. So we don't have confirmation of anybody actually being sick from it, and they have pulled the milk. But if you know of anybody that does drink it, you might just let them know. And the other food outbreak was a major brand Jiffy peanut butter has been recalled for salmonella. We don't have any increased case reports in the county yet, but the lot numbers are available online if anybody thinks they might have that brand at home. I think the end of the lot for each one was 425. So if you have Jiffy peanut butter and it's got 425 on the end, it may have salmonella in it. So I think that was all I had to share this time.
Carol?
Yeah, back on the zero waste topic, I just wanted to know if everybody's aware, there's a place in Red Hook, New York called the Ozone, and the woman that runs that business does a lot of recycling. I was really surprised. She recycles contact lenses, and she has different boxes and different manufacturers. Some will come and pick up some of the stuff she has. So it's a topic I want to address with our local town hall to see if we can partner up or start doing some of the type of recycling. So if you don't know the business, it's called Ozone, and she's in Red Hook, New York. Public service announcement.
Oh, and she advertises on Radio Woodstock for those of us who listen.
Yeah.
You can always find out. It's called the Ozone, Ozone. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you could just Google the store and learn all about it. Okay. Is there anything else, either from zero waste or beyond? We're into any new business category as well.
There
I
is.
just had a question for, I think, I saw in Chatham, there's a place called Partners for Climate Action. Does anyone know who that is?
That's Paige Ruan.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And Josh. Yeah,
Go ahead.
Josh.
Go ahead, Carol.
So I'm sorry I was late, too many meetings, but I'm glad I made it to fill a quorum. But was there a agenda item on a biodigester?
No.
I had asked Michael to put it on. I don't have a lot to say about it, but it was very interesting to hear reported our supervisor is the head of the Public Works Committee on the Board of Supervisors, and they made a tour of a biodigester run by Greene County. So that's an interesting topic. They're not a large unit, but they're actually doing serious composting and producing I think 100 pounds of high quality compost. I haven't heard about the methane usage, but I think it's good news both that Greene County is doing it, but most especially there's been quite a change in the county towards zero waste. The compost program that the county is doing, it's remarkable that they overcame the bad experience of a number of years ago. And it's, of course, all of the Climate Smart Communities work is a remarkable boost there. And I think it's a part of all of this action that we've been a part of stirring the pot to see this kind of movement actually coming from them, that they made that tour. And I know that Ron Knott is one person who has resisted that kind of thing in the past. So just to pass on that bit of good news.
Online education.
My apologies. Huh? Okay. That's very interesting that Greene County is ahead of us on that front. And I'd love to see our county be a little more progressive along those lines. I believe Michael had, and it was in the minutes, if I'm correct, that we're going to try to set up a meeting with Jolene Race for the EMC. And it seems to me that that might be a topic to bring up during that visit, more, gather some more data points about what Jolene thinks about it and the possibility of it bringing it here.
There's a little biodigester down in Hudson. I toured it yesterday. It's down by the brewery. It's a little baby digester. You should check it out.
Who's running that?
Years.
Do you know, Paul?
So it kind of runs itself. This guy, Chris Lindstrom, bought it, and it's down by the Hudson Brewery. They take brewery waste and other stuff from down by Basilica, and it fits in a shipping container. It's really cute.
Yeah, it's run by Basilica and Kite's Nest is also involved.
I believe that they support it, but Chris basically manages it, and he has a man hired who operates it. It takes periodic maintenance. Of course, it has to be filled, unfilled. They produce a digestate that is a fertility product and a liquid digestate. I've bought it from them. Comes, you can take your own container. I have a contact with the man, I can't remember his name right now, who manages it, does the actual work. If anybody's interested in it for your garden, you bring your own container on the days that he's there managing it and pick it up. It's not necessary. They began it with organic product. I don't believe mostly Kite's Nest, but now, as you mentioned, Paul, they are using also the brewery waste from the brewery right behind there.
Right.
And always sort of, and they take product, they take the digestate also to the Kite's Nest garden.
If anybody's curious, I wrote a book on biodigestion of food scraps. I can send you a copy. I do this for my day job nationwide, run around biodigesters. Yeah.
I'd love to see it.
Now you tell us. That's
my
great.
thing.
Yeah, please do send that around. That'd be terrific.
It's a little bit big scale. It talks about, large ones. It's not exactly backyard digestion, but it's amusing reading anyway.
That's terrific. I know at one point, the County Economic Development Corporation was looking into a digester for some of the large dairy operations like Will Rock. I'm not sure it got very far down the road, but I know that they were starting to explore that. And having that
Will Rock signed a contract to build their own, and they were actually bringing a whole bunch of food scraps from outside the town. But I can see Will Rock out my front door here. I bid on building Will Rocks for them.
Have they signed a contract?
Yeah, there's this outfit in Wellesley, Mass called Vanguard Renewables, but that was 5 years ago it was signed, and these things have notorious challenges with getting financed, so it's just kind of sitting here. Nothing's happening.
They're also, they're in our town, and she's on the board, and we've been hearing about that, but wondered about the stalling. I think, so the contract signed, but it's sort of a
pending successful financing.
Somebody comes with money, then it's a real contract.
Right. Yeah, I mean, Vanguard has Bill Gates money behind them, so they're the real deal. They just got to be able to kind of solidify it and package it. And I do think one of the secrets of that job was they were going to bring up urban New York City food scraps, which is a whole nother topic to itself.
Paul, are you in touch with Jolene or anyone in the county? Because I know they're looking at this and what Greene County is doing. But have you been in touch with them at all?
I don't know Jolene. No, I don't know her.
Okay, she's the head of solid waste, the director of solid waste for the county. Okay, well, I'll let her know that you're around. That's great.
Yeah, I did some stuff for Albany County. Did a big study a while ago. I've been running around like mostly dairy farms, so the economics are very good for some of the farmers out west, like Rochester and whatnot, that have 3,000 plus milkers to do a digester project. But can I ask a question?
Yeah, of course.
So newbie here, and I'm still trying to understand the charter of the group and the power and the remit. As I listen to the conversations about electricity, I hear solar. So we're talking about power. The one thing I haven't really heard is heat. So as a significant fuel oil user in the winter, I've always been trying to think about ways to up my climate game when it comes to thermal needs around the country. So I was having a beer with our county supervisor, Rob Lagoni, the other day, and he was telling me that actually there was a bill in front of him the other day about in 2024, all new construction has to be electric heat. And that spun into a whole fascinating conversation about, is our culture ready to electrify all of our heat? And is there a way to be more effective with some of the heating we're doing now? And I don't know, I guess at some point I'd be interested in a conversation about heat in the county, things like heat pumps, better insulation, solar thermal. So I just thought I'd lob that out there. Is that anything that we talk about?
Well, there's actually a part of the leadership campaign is an HVAC outreach and education campaign. So it's definitely something that NYSERDA would love for us to work on, some sort of education campaign.
Exactly, because I think some of this is fairly old school, geothermal, heat pumps, better insulation. My house was built in 1830 and it leaks like a sieve. And so I don't even know, is there money out there to increase like building efficiency and all that? But I'd enjoy that conversation.
I was in, speaking old school, I was in a solar thermal field for many years, built hundreds of systems. It's a bizarre to hear the thought of requiring electric heat and prohibiting
And New York City's doing the same thing. There's a bill in front of the city, 2025 and beyond, all new construction, electric heat.
Is sponsored perhaps by a particular industry.
We could talk that through and maybe suppose that. Yeah.
Yep.
But
Okay,
yeah.
well,
Yeah.
I think getting a meeting together with the EMC and Jolene Race should move up our agenda. We've had the draft management plan in front of us, and some comments have gone in from the town of Chatham and from Michael Bradley.
Bradley, yeah.
But I think the discussion that Paul started here makes a lot of sense to continue with Jolene
Great.
as well.
Okay, super.
Yeah, one thing I'd like to mention in that regard. I feel like it's important John has been, and Zero Waste has been discouraged by response to John's comments toward revising that plan. But I think it's important that one aspect of that is the plan is a state requirement that it exist. And Jolene puts a certain amount of effort into it. And our concern was essentially with the vagary. But that plan doesn't have restrictions in it about what the county can do. And so we can advocate for far more than is in that plan.
Yeah.
And I think what you're talking about, that meeting with her and what's come up here is really important.
Terrific. I think I'm going to throw this ball now about meeting with Jolene back into Michael's court and just make sure that John Bradley is part of the conversation as well about planning this get together. So, all right. Any other new business before the council tonight? No? All right. Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to close the meeting.
I so move.
Second, please. All right, Carol's the second. Terrific. All those in favor, wave goodbye. All right, everybody, have a good night.
Good night,
Take care.
Thanks, Rick.
All right, bye-bye.
Thank you.